against a backdrop of unbearable grief that befalls the entire nation and the people as a result of His Majesty's passing. Thailand must still and will forge ahead to build a strong and flourishing economy within the framework of a fair and harmonious society. With that note of sadness and of hope, and with His Majesty's admonition and advice always in the back of our mind, I hereby open KBANK Bank's Analysts and Fund Managers meeting. I rather not belabor the credit cost, which has sunk in already. I don't think it's something that is of a permanent damage. It's a matter, of course, of the economic cycle, and Thailand and the rest of the world has been under a rather slow phase of economic growth. And there's nobody's going to pull everybody out of it overnight. It's going to be a long and slow rise, and rise it is, given the fact that new impetus from government spending, government investment, and also foreign direct investment, which are being invited to come in more to Thailand as a destination. I think you will see, and we will see, a gradual rise in economic activity. Of course, there is a limitation as a result of the consumption side, over-indebtedness in most part of the population. Trade is down all over the world, and Thailand included, even though Thailand will continue to benefit from a strong tourism business against all odds. And given the fact that we've had a period of political instability in the previous years, which now seems to calm down, and that provides a framework for a definitive management of the economy, as difficult as it is. So we are going to be looking at a economic growth of 3 to 3.5%. I think that kind of a challenge is more strongly felt in the smaller people, either the consumers or the SMEs. And even though across the entire economic cycle, lending to SME still has a good return, risk-adjusted return on capital, the immediate impact of the slow economic growth, of course, will show up in the SME side. And that is the numbers that you are seeing with KBANK Bank. Even though the NPL has peaked, the valuation of the loss, that is translated into credit cost, lags behind by a quarter or so. So it's no new surprise, it's no new disaster, it's just the way the mathematics works out. I think the team, the IR team, and other people will give you the detailed mathematical analysis of how we come about getting into credit costs. But I think that if the economy picks up, and it should pick up given the declared statements and policies by the government, and we will gradually see the revival of the business overall, and also the revival of the business of the SMEs, which, by the way, has become more and more a target of government attention in right now to make sure that all parts of the Thai society, even though they're suffering from various forms of mishaps in terms of either the natural disasters or low price agricultural prices, are going to be propped up arbitrarily for the time being. I mean, that's unavoidable for any country to do not to do so. But I think there's a long run there'll be a change in the way we manage the various parts of the economy, and gradually all sectors of the Thai economy will show improvement in the way they do their business, go about making a living. So you can belabor that point then, and you can take whatever valuation write down you might want to do for the stock price, but I think this is a transient kind of a phenomenon. More interesting is the fact that the banking business actually as a new crossroad or the point of departure. That means that the old kinds of easy income will not come back. You see that in the numbers shown on the fee income. Surely the national e-payment system comes with it with a little bit of a social agenda on the part of the government, which is totally understandable. Any government, and especially the Bank of Thailand, must have some political credit, and they will express that wish. So you see that the easy transactional fees that the banking business used to gain will be eroded to some point across the entire industry. The other kinds of the fees, credit cards fees, bank assurance fees that we used to make, it's going to be experienced in national fatigue. You can grow double digits for a while. At some point, there's going to be some saturation. We still would make sure that we get the most out of the existing structure. But I think it's an important part for the banking business is the new kind of competition that will come around. I know that from the analyst point of view, most of the investor point of view, the life is about a quarter long, quarter results. And I will accommodate that. But I just want to make sure that we don't forget that there's still life beyond the next quarterly results. You may not live to see it, but the bank will. The key question now for the banking business is that first, can you come in with the new kinds of fees of income that will replace the old ones that will be met with or away either by a political decision or by just the fatigue of the old kinds of market, plus the ability to manage cost, which Kasikorn Bank has been doing very proactively, and you can see those results in the numbers. That while we're waiting for a new kind of income to come in, it's not going to come overnight. It has to come with new innovation. It has to come with the fintech and how to spin the fintech to something that people will use and pay for. In the meantime, it's going to be a dip. I don't think that is totally unexpected. But that dip, how deep that dip is, depends on how effectively we manage cost. And that's what we're doing right now. So even though you're going to be seeing a slow growth for a while in terms of loan growth, I mean, the economy growing 3 to 3.5%, you're not going to be expecting too much of a growth. And as I've always said, over the years, it's dangerous for banking system to outlend the economy. It has to lend with the economy to get the economy going. But it's tricky business if one tries to outlend the economy, and you cannot handle the risk involved, and it will show up sometime down the road. With that being said, I mean, we have to manage the cost well. We have to squeeze out the old kind of business, the income from the old kinds of business, as much as possible, and work very hard to prepare for the future. That's what Kasikorn Bank has been doing, setting up the new unit separately. I'll tell you why it has to be set up separately, KBTG, Kasikorn Business Technology Group, to come up with a new set of income generation, new sets of products that will sustain the business into the future. Banking business will continue to be used by the people. Credit cards, credit purchases, which used to be done through the plastic cards that we use today, will continue to be used by the consumers, but the channels may not be the same. The vehicle may not be the same. It may not be the same credit card that you're holding in our pockets today. And it may be offered by somebody else, not the licensed bank today. That's the reality of this business. It's important if you want to look at a long-term investment strategy to see whether an organization is actually preparing itself to meet that kind of challenges, instead of just squeezing out just the old kind of income generation, which will last us only for a while. And you can see the numbers over the past couple of years. The trend is all downward. There's no magic in management in the world going to save that, unless we come up with something new, and something new fast. And that's why we have been investing technologically and also investing culturally for a new kind of platform, technological platform as well as cultural platform. Cultural means organizational cultural platform, to bring in, to educate a new kind of personnel, of staff, that will think ahead into the next generation and come up with something that will be usable and saleable in the future, right? We have gone through this discourse over the years about how the business will go over the next year or so, and all the numbers are there in the handouts. You've seen all that. It's nothing new and nothing exciting. When you look at the ROEs, ROAs, I don't want to mention the numbers, but they're going to be low. And they will continue to be low, even lower, unless we manage the cost well and come up with something new to replace the old kinds of income that will disappear forever, because business will move on. Customers, consumers' taste, consumers' preference will move on to something else. So it's best for the business to figure that out soon and bring in the kind of people, or build internally the kind of people that can figure out what the future will hold for us. Kasikorn Bank has been doing that. I mean, Kasikorn Bank Business Technology Group has been set up for that very purpose. Banking is a very IT-intensive kind of business. Not only that, banking is a very innovation-intensive kind of business. You have to figure out how people, if consumers in the future will transact their financial requirements. It has to be on a mobile phone, because K-Mobile banking is a very, very popular platform right now, the most popular platform for digital transaction. It doesn't mean you're going to stay there forever. It can disappear overnight. Somebody can come up with something faster, more convenient, easily used, more secure. Those are the things that we have to keep in mind as we continue to develop new applications and new products to offer to the marketplace. It's a fast-paced kind of business. I think we should realize that. We're not going to be sitting around just lending out and collecting the fees and the interest spread. That, luckily for the Thai banking system, is still reasonably healthy compared to the rest of the region. But that alone cannot be relied upon to deliver kind of a return on equity, return on asset, unless we manage the operational costs, which continues naturally to rise unless you keep it in check. We're not going to be expanding the physical branch network anymore. It's come to the point of diminishing returns. But it has to be done with real intensity to make sure that the cost does not outrun the ability to create new income. The Kasikorn Business Technology Group has been set up because it has to be done separately to set up a new cultural environment for the new IT people to come in, not only from the outside the bank, but also from out the country. From Silicon Valley, we have to bring those kind of talents to Thailand, to Kasikorn Bank, to make sure that we have the necessary human materials to figure out what the future of banking will be. That's why it has to be set up separately as an organization. Cultural management according to the cultural inclination is an important part of the management philosophy at Kasikorn Bank. The old kind of bankers can never make it. So if you need new kind of bankers, we're not going to bring them in the old kind of environment. We send them separately to something else and help them, nurture them so they can bring up something new. Then we can apply that across our many interfaces that we've built, so we can transact financial services across the interfaces with consistent quality and efficiency. It sounds like a science fiction, and it still is a science fiction. Nobody can say that we made it. People have made gesture, have made their articulations about what they want to do. But in the end, it's going to be decided by who brings to the marketplace first the new kinds of innovations that will attract the attention of the future generations of consumers.